Tambolini is a point man going for more offense, but he doesn't very often get to carry the puck up the ice and start looking where you're going to dump it in. This is kind of a new thing for him right now, and that really wasn't his best dumping.
Here's Yanni for Canada. 28 seconds left in the penalty. Yanni flips it in. And again, Semyonov back to clear it. Bilgrah knocks it down, but Big Semyonov came up with the puck to Svetlov, and the Soviets come to center. Svetlov moving in, gets it to Semyonov. He's too well checked by Yanni, and then jammed into the boards. Svetlov for the Soviets. Loses it, and back comes Yaremchuk. Makarov out of the penalty box. Pass to Zalewski. Shoots up high off the glass, and right over the glass into the crowd. Meanwhile, the Soviets have killed off the penalty.
Well, the Soviets doing a very, very good job. You know, they're so quick at getting back there. The Canadians trying to get in on top of them and hem them in. But Darley Zalewski got the pass there. It wasn't on his stick. He really had it. Was a bouncing puck. And by the time he was waiting for it to settle down, the Soviet defenseman got there and deflected that puck into the crowd.
Brad Park, you've been involved when the team's down 2-0 coming into the third period. What do we have to do to open this thing up and get a goal?
Well, it depends if you're down 1 goal or 2 goals or 4 goals. If you're down 4 goals, you try to get one every 5 minutes. If you're down 2 goals, which the Canadians are right now, you're looking at getting one in the first 10 minutes. And if you can accomplish that, that means you've got 10 minutes to tie this hockey game.
Here's Malinowski getting it to Tim Waters. Waters firing it in, and Byakin is back for the Soviets. To Kamensky. Randy Gregg skates him off. Bekov fires it in. Homatov in to get it. Couldn't. Now Gusarov in behind the net to Bekov, and he got upended by Waters. Bekov after it again. Into the corner. Homatov tries to center. Into the other corner. Kamensky bumping with Sherman. Kamensky gets the puck. Couldn't get it centered. Now Homatov tied up by Randy Gregg. Kamensky into the other corner. To Homatov. Gregg has him tied up before the puck ever got there. Now Bekov out in front. Wrap-around backhand shot. Wide of the target. Gusarov into the corner. Canada's Sherman had it. Lost it. And some tough action on the boards inside Canada's blue line. Now Waters circles back. And over on the far side, Berry took out Byakin, and that allowed the puck to go down the ice. Bekov back to get it. Soviets leading 2-0. We're early in the third period. Here's Lomakin into the Canadian zone. Check. Canada clear it out to center, and Kasatonov back to get it. Got it away. Here's Chris Felix to Yaremchuk. Canada on offense. Back to the point. Felix shooting. Milnikov the save. And the rebound cleared into center ice. Felix for Yaremchuk. Canada trying to attack again, but Cherney breaks it up. Back he comes. Leaves it for Mogilny, who shot the flex wide. Cherney a chance. That's blocked. And now Tambolini feeding it into center ice. But Fetisov is back for the Soviets. His pass to number 21, Alexander Cherney. Cherney centered. Mogilny stands on it as he tried to spin around. And Zalewski. Headman to Boisvert, to Yaremchuk at least. Cherney there to intercept that. And circling back is Krutov, number 9. Soviets leading 2-0 and in complete control at this point. Puck shot down the ice. Zalewski back, and that's icing against the Soviets. Let's look at the fireworks in downtown Calgary tonight.
Lots of them downtown. Not too much here in the Olympic Saddledome. Just the 2 goals have been scored. Boy, that's a show, isn't it?
But last night it is terrific.
Good. Could hear in awe of that. Well, they know how to put on a party in this town, Dan.
That they do. That happens every evening around this time in Calgary. After the medal presentations, they have a laser show and then the fireworks. We'd like some fireworks here. But so far, the Soviets in control, leading 2-0. And they clear it into center ice. Hustling back after it is Tony Stiles. Burke out of the net to play the puck. Fires it high off the glass, and Sherman poked it ahead to Barry. Barry checked by Kravchuk on the play. Now Stiles jumped up, knocked it down, crosses the red line, and dumps it in. In comes Sherman. Now Hampshire. Shot behind the net. Stiles trying to center, a deflection by Hampshire, but off the target, and Makarov comes up with the puck. Look at him stick handle his way out of trouble. Now they drop it to Stelnov, who gives it to Makarov. Lost it. Chance for Zalewski, but Stelnov back defensively to Karutov with Makarov. Only Waters back, and he poked it off the Soviet player's stick and took him out of the play, and Gord Sherman starts back. Into center ice to Hampshire. Hampshire trying to center. Broken up and cleared back out. Here's Karutov to Makarov. Moving in, a chance, and missing was Semyonov as he went to his backhand. Now centered and off a skate. And Burke had to be sharp and alert on that one. Here's Schreiber for Canada. Intercepting on the blue line was Svetlov. Back into center ice for Svetlov. Into Yashin. Shot right on. Burke to save. Over on the far side for Svetlov. Back on the point. Shot wide of the net. And it's cleared around on the boards by Trent Yanni. And coming up with it is Schreiber. For Yanni. Headmanning it ahead to Bradley. Into Boisvert. Centered. Put it right in front, but Schreiber couldn't try or get a stick on it for the deflection. And the Soviets come back. Yashin. Moving in on left wing. Taken out by Yanni. And Felix has it for Canada. Headmanning to Poplinski, who flies into the Soviet zone on left wing. Poplinski can't get it centered as he battles with Fetisov, and then the Soviets clear it out. This is Stiles back to get it. Rolled off his stick, and having to hustle back was Boisvert. Soviets, Ron, playing almost a letter-perfect game right here.
Well, right now they've just got Canada tied so completely up.
There's an offensive chance by Kamensky that Burke had to stop. Centered. And now Poplinski starts back. Kamensky held it in. To Homatov. Into Kamensky. Kamensky cuts in. Burke slid out, made the save. And Felix comes back for Canada. Tim Malinowski couldn't get it out of the zone. Felix back after it. Soviets leading 2-0. And seemingly in control right here. Felix starts back, fires it in. Fetisov back to get it. Loses. Malinowski a chance. Check before he could shoot, and Fetisov clearing it. Bekov got it to center. Zalewski loses. Now McGillney giving it to Bekov. Bekov tied up by Zalewski and ridden out. Bill Grau over to get it. To Yaremchuk. And he circles his own goal. Yaremchuk lost it. Held in by Lomakin. Side of the net. Mogilny shoots. He scores! The youngster Mogilny to make it 3-0 for the Soviet Union.
Well, Canada just simply could not get out of its own zone. McGillney celebrating, of course, but they kept trying, and things would happen. They turn it over before they got to the line. Canada feeling the pressure of almost a full-court press. And here's Mogilny just getting it alone aside of the net and putting it, I think, between the pads of Burke.
I think Sean...
Here's the turnover right here. That was the key to it.
I think Sean Burke was playing the pass. Watches Mogilny gets the puck here. He comes in front. Now, Burke starts... He's turned sideways. Instead of just playing the shooter, he's turned sideways because he's thinking he's having to go to the other side. You can't fault him because the Soviets just had two excellent chances just before that by Kamensky and Semyonov. They've been in alone on Sean Burke, and he's starting to guess who's going to be free, who's going to get the open puck, and am I going to look bad?
I'll give hockey fans a tip. Remember that name Mogilny for future international games. This is the youngster, and that's his second goal of this tournament. Lomakin assisting. 8 minutes the time. Gives the Soviets a 3-0 lead. Now Sherman for Canada drive. Rebound to half side, but Milnikov able to hold it out. And it's cleared to center ice. Sherman has it there. Dropping it back for Trent Yanni.
Milnikov doesn't have much of a glove hand, but the way the defense is playing in front of him, it doesn't seem to matter.
Waters getting it to Sherman. It's shot in, and Larionov goes back to pick it up. Larionov beats one man, then feeds it to Stelnov into center ice. Soviets were going to change, but Kravchuk saw the puck and then fired it in, and Burke gives it to Felix. Up the middle, missing Bradley, goes the length of the ice. Byakin back to touch it, and that's icing against Canada. 11:01 to play, and the Soviets with a 3-0 lead.
Sherman, who had the chance in front of the net, watch for him, he's number 10, intercepted it at the blue line and then whistled it off the glove, tried to snap it, but then he covered up alertly. Canada needs a break on something like that. They're not getting them. Little line, you make your own breaks, and it's really not that tough around the net.
Dave King chalking it up at Team Canada's bench. He felt his club almost had to win this game to stay alive, and I think we agree, Ron.
Well, they now really are up against it.
Loose puck. Burke comes out, cleared it. Knocked down. Gusarov now to Svetlov in front. Semyonov just missed on the backhand. Here's Semyonov again. Now Svetlov out in front. Centered it. Byakin a drive, and Burke kicked out his right pad to stop that. In the corner is Yashin, and he's tied up on the play by Felix. Puck came loose to the point. Gusarov shot it back in, and Felix and Yashin are still there. Now Semyonov. And it's Canada clearing it out of there. Serge Poivre flips it down into the Soviet zone with Semyonov back to get it. And Byakin just clears it to the Canadian blue line. Poplinski back to Randy Gregg. Now to Poplinski again, but Gusarov there to ride him out. And Gregg goes back for Canada. Gregg lead pass. Kasatonov there to intercept. Over on left wing for Fetisov. Now shooting it ahead on right wing, and back is Malinowski for Canada. Canada trailing 3-0 and needing some offense badly at this point. Bekov to Kamensky. Shot wide of the target. And it bounces into center ice. Fetisov, who's been so dominant through these Olympics, shoots it in. Here's Bekov trying to center. Knocked down by Gregg. And back for Canada comes Tambellini. In for Vilgrov. He drops it back. Comes to Zalewski, but the shot blocked by Kamensky. And here comes Homatov for the Soviets. Puts on the brakes. Tries to make a play. Does. Lomakin in front. Bekov is stopped by Burke from close in.
Don't fault Burke on this game. He has been outstanding.
Centered again. Kasatonov a shot, and that one blocked by Sherman. And now Canada's Hampshire starts back. Not as far as center. Now Waters firing it in, and the Soviets go back.
Dan, I think the Soviets, they smell a kill here right now. They're gonna run this score up. They got the Canadians backing in. The Canadians are trying to get some offense, making gambles. It's like they smell a kill and they want to go after them.
3-0. The Soviets leading. Lomakin trying to carry out. Yanni at the blue line, giving it to Gord Sherman. Sherman to Waters. And it's dumped in, and it's offside at the Soviet blue line. 8:13 to play. The Soviets leading Canada 3-0. We'll be right back.
Nowhere on earth but at the Bay will you find savings like this on Beaumark Floor Care. Save 25% on all Beaumark Floor Care, designed to pick up everything from dirt and fluff to stardust. Don't miss this sensational offer of 25% off Beaumark Floor Care, only at the Bay during Flying Colors. A sale so great, it's out of this world.
Well, the Soviets here in the third period have scored a goal. They've outshot Canada 8-3. Here is Larionov with a drive just wide of the net. Now a loose puck chased after by Ken Berry, or by Brian Bradley it is. Bradley trying to get it in front, but there defensively was Stelnov. And now Kravchuk into center ice. to Stelnov as he moves on the attack. Got it in front. Cleared away by Waters. Soviets, Makarov in the grasp of Waters. And Bradley is back for Canada. Bradley over to Tony Stiles. Now to Yaremchuk. Up the middle to Tambellini. Got to center, but Krutov knocked it down, and Larionov drops it back to Byakin. He gives it to Larionov. Soviets are playing that funny game. They won't give you the puck. Here's a long pass by Canada down the ice. And as Gusarov goes back to touch it, that's icing against Canada.
Well, I started to say earlier in the game that Canada had not scored a goal against the Soviet Union in the Olympics since 1980. They had a game in which they scored 4, lost 6-4 in 1980, and the last one, too. There's a shot just wide of the net. Grazed the outside of the post on Sean Burke. Burke will tell you he had it all the way. There's Igor Larionov. Let that shot go.
Soviets well on their way to their 6th straight victory in these Olympics. To this point, they've outscored the opposition 35-10. I think that's kind of a dominant statistic.
Well, last year in the last Olympics in the medal round, they gave up only 1 goal in the medal round. And they look like they're going to be just as tough this time around. Of course, the guy in the goal that time was Tretiak.
Here's a loose puck knocked into center ice by Yashin. Going back after it, Zalapsky for Canada. Canada trailing 3-0 and running out of time. Barry now pokes it to center. Tambellini races after it, but Kasatonov is there to clear it to center. And Canada drop it back to Zalapsky. Now Randy Gregg to Malinowski, but Kasatonov there to intercept. Soviets, Svetlov into the zone. Dropping it back. Here's a chance for Semyonov, and his shot deflects and goes up over the glass into the crowd.
Sitting right down in front of our broadcast booth is the general manager of the Boston Bruins, Harry Sinden. Way back in 1960, I'm sure Harry Sinden left Squaw Valley very disappointed that he only got a silver medal. But he now, I'm sure, realizes just what that silver medal means. That it's been a long, lean period since 1960. Canada has won only a bronze since, so they've never done as well. Harry was part of the Kitchener-Waterloo Dutchman team that went to the 1980 Olympics and finished second behind the United States.
Here's Kamensky for the Soviets trying to center it. Kamensky again does get it in front, but Sherman there for Canada. Fires it out to center ice to Bilgraw. Bilgraw headed out by Kravchuk and Bekov, who's been all over the place tonight for the Soviets. Comes up with it, and the Soviets come right back. Kamensky to Homatov, just tipped away by Yanni. And then he knocks Homatov to the ice in the corner. Homatov gets back up and continues to battle. Out in front to Kamensky, but Felix cleared it away. Here's Stelnov holding it in. And Canada fired around to Trent Yanni. 5.5 minutes left. 3-0 for the Soviets, who have stopped Canada cold here in the third period, and in the bargain scored another goal. Shot in by the Soviets. Mogilny into the corner with Stiles. Lomakin comes in. Now Mogilny gets his stick up with Stiles. They fence away. Now Lomakin and Poplinski battle. And Felix back to get the puck. Up the middle for Poplinski. Into Hampshire, but just tipped away by Gusarov. And here comes Mogilny over to Stelnov. To Lomakin. Back into Stelnov into the corner. Centered. There's Mogilny in front, but just could get a stick on it. Hampshire back for Canada. To Poplinski. But he's taken out by Gusarov, and Milnikov cleared it away.
Dan, if you've ever been stuck in a traffic jam and you're getting frustrated and impatient, and everybody's going the other way, and you got a flow to them, that's what the Canadians are facing right now. The Soviets have got a great flow. Every pass they're making is on the stick. They're skating with confidence. The Canadians are struggling. They feel like they're in a traffic jam and they're just spinning their wheels.
4:12 to play. Puck at center ice, and that's Larionov stepping up to break it up. Makarov in to take Gregg out of the play. Makarov comes up with the puck. Centered in front, just missed the oncoming Fetisov, and it comes back to Kasatonov. Now back in the Canadian zone, little bit of a skirmish, Randy Gregg and Makarov, and I think we're going to get penalties against both here.
Well, right behind the play. They've been at it all day. I've seldom seen Randy Gregg as aggressive as he has been here. There's a holding and a roughing call being handed out. Makarov waits right to the bench, and Gregg following.
Well, a lot of rough rides, and Makarov, after Gregg had given him a rough ride, just took his feet out from under him.
Well, they've been holding, and the tempers are bound to get a little edgy.
Brad, I don't know if this third period reminds me as much of a traffic jam as it does a clinic. And the Soviets are really putting a clinic on. There you see Harry Senden with Chicago GM ball pulper.
As I say, not very many people know that Harry is a silver medalist in the Olympics. There's the business in front of the net. Finally, we had a Soviet lose his temper.
Holding against Gregg, tripping against Makarov. 16:04 the time. And it looks as though the Soviets are going to jump into first place in the medal round.
Well, they had to get the victory. At this moment, Finland's in first place. And with the 2 points here, the Soviets will move back in front by a point.
And Canada with just only 1 point in 5th place. And seeing their medal chances go slightly down the drain right here against the Soviets. Here's Fetisov into Larionov. Centered in front, they score! Karutov on as pretty a passing play as you will see.
That was just magic. That puck went 1, 2, 3 into the net.
Well, just a great play by the Soviets. Maybe it's the clinic Dan was talking about. Look here as they cross the line. Here's Larionov just finding Khrushchev going to the net, and he redirects the puck. Brian Bradley was on his tail, but Khrushchev, if you ever try to check a fire plug, that's like trying to check him. You just can't get a good piece of him, and even if you do, you're going to be above him. He has got the low differential in weight where he's so strong and so low to the ice, you never get a good piece of. A beautiful goal.
Karutov, 6 of the Olympics from Larionov and Fetisov. 16:37 the time. 4-0 Soviets.
First time that the big green machine has been on the ice for a goal.
You know, Ron, 2 weeks ago this Friday, on our opening show from these Olympics, I talked about the Soviets coming back to the pack, that they weren't as good as they used to be. Should I apologize right here?
No, because I think that nobody could predict that 2 or 3 players would suddenly rise above the play that they had put in the last couple of, the last 2 years, really. Fetisov has been back to the old Fetisov, the one that said he's maybe the best defenseman in the world. We've had Larionov playing far beyond the type of hockey we saw him play in the Canada Cup. Karutov and Makarov, and some of these young players haven't played badly either, but they're the keys, and they've been controlling the game.
Puck is shot in. Hampshire gets it to Sherbin. He's tied up. Kamensky now coming up with it with 2.5 minutes remaining, and the Soviets leading 4-0. Kamensky got to center and has to circle back. Now to Gusarov, to Bekov, and it's dumped in by the Soviet Union, who have a big 4-0 lead. Waters to Zalewski. Into center ice to Berry. Berry all by himself, and then ridden out of the play by Byakin. And the Soviets, Bekov carries out of the zone. He gives it to Gusarov. 2 minutes of play in the game. We're under 2 minutes remaining in a long night for Canada. And the Soviets have a 4-0 lead. Here is Waters getting it to center. Womakin knocks it down. Here's Makarov breaking away. In the clear, scores! Makarov makes it 5-0.
Well, all of a sudden they're getting loose. Canada now has kind of come out of its checking game, and they're getting free on them. That makes it 5-0. Makarov.
If you want to see the strength of the Soviet players, now this guy is not a big guy. Makarov, right now, Makarov, watch him go here. Watch him take the slash right there. Boom, and he just cuts back. I mean, he did not move. He did exactly what he wanted. A small guy, but tremendously strong.
Now the question is, will they get the shutout? And if the Soviets do, in the 7 meetings between Canada and the Soviet Union in Olympic history, it will be the 4th time the Soviets have shut Canada out. It goes right back to 1956 when a goaltender named Puchkov was in there for the Soviet Union. In 1968 at Grenoble, it was Konovalenko. In 1984, Tretiak. And now it would appear, with 1:33 left, the name will be Mushkin. Or Milnikov, rather.
Here's another look at, here's where he takes the slash and the cross-check. And believe me, he did not move an inch. What a strong man.
Now the Soviets are going to jump to the top of the pack with 6 points. Finland with 5, Sweden 4, Germany 2, Canada 1, Czechoslovakia nothing. What does that leave left for Canada with 2 games to play?
Well, 2 games are against Germany and Czechoslovakia. And looking at the games those 2 teams played today, Canada is capable of winning those games. If they do, they would have 5 points. Now they need some help. Sweden will be playing Germany. They're ahead of Canada. Germany, well, we don't know. Canada, at this point, needs some help to get 3rd. Has a good chance of being 4th in the tournament.
Here's Tambellini shooting it in, and that's offside at the Soviet blue line. The last scoring play, Makarov from Lomakin, 18-16 the time, to make it 5-0.
The Swedes have a game against Germany, and they have a game against the Soviet Union. And that's the key. If Sweden somehow lost both of those games and Canada won both of its games, they would get a bronze medal. But it is, as I say, they're going to need some help, especially from West Germany. And, of course, they have to beat West Germany themselves. And West Germany has had good nights and, obviously, bad nights. They had a bad night this particular day.
1:06 to play. The Soviets 5, Canada nothing. Raining on the parade a little bit here in Calgary tonight, these Soviets. Against the host country's hockey club. Here's a lead pass to Kravchuk in center ice. Firing it to Larionov. Felix is there. Over to Randy Gregg in Canada. Come to center, and that's called back in a 2-line offside. And then Mr. Vilgrand and Mr. Kravchuk differ on something.
Well, Canada, we talked about being shut out. They've been shut out now by the Soviets over 100 minutes. 2 straight games plus about 13 minutes of a game in which, by the way, Canada tied the Soviets 4-4. This was at Lake Placid. And then a couple of late goals by the Soviets allowed them to win.
Ice stick. That stops play, and they'll move the face-off into the Soviet zone. No taking anything away from this Soviet machine tonight, Ron.
Well, they've been great. They withstood a lot of pressure that Canada put on them. They're difficult. Dave King was counting on them losing their poise. That was the one thing he said, that if we can get their goat, in effect, we might be able to take advantage of that. The Soviets did not allow anybody to get their goat, if you'll forgive the expression.
Since the first period, the Soviets have been in control. Here's Schreiber in the corner, trying to center, getting it to Malinowski. Got it in front, but there's Makarov with 18 seconds left, and Makarov flies out of his own zone and just drops it back to the defenseman Byakin. They're protecting the shutout for their goaltender in this game, Sergei Milnikov. Puck cleared down the ice. Greg back to get it with 1 second left. Just time for a face-off in the Soviet end of the rink, and I'm sure everyone would just have soon seen that final second tick off.
Well, shutouts seem to be the norm in the medal round. All the games played in the medal round last Olympics, there were 4 shutouts. There were only 4 games played in the medal round, and 4 shutouts. 2 of the 3 now in this medal round have been shutouts. And there it is, another one.
A long evening for Canada comes to an end, and the Soviets go 6-0. They outshoot Canada 33-17. Yashin, Bekov, Mogilny, Karutov, and Makarov score. Milnikov gets the shutout. The Soviets dominant here tonight, and they defeat Canada 5-0 at the Saddledome. The final score, Soviets 5, Canada nothing.
And other city center stops along 6th Avenue. Buses leave from gate 4.
Well, they're streaming out of the Saddledome just across the road from where we are, rather disconsolate group. naturally, because the USSR defeated Canada tonight 5-0. That puts the Soviet Union in top spot in the Battle-Brown play. They have 6 points. Finland has 5, Sweden 4, West Germany 2, Canada 1, Czechoslovakia 0. The next game for Canada is on Friday morning.